Hello, I am IrenALaoShi, and I have been an English teacher for VIP Kid since June 2019. I was born and raised in beautiful fire season, California. Yay, global warming! And I was actually so blessed by my family to have learned Mandarin first as my native tongue before I actually learned how to speak English. In fact, sometimes when you listen to me ramble on long enough, our sharp auditory learners will actually notice that I will sometimes sub Chinese grammar.
Well, there basically isn't any grammar in Chinese. Yeah.
Into my English sentences. First things first, dialects. China is such a big country with an estimated 1.3 billion people as of 2017. So we're going to have some different dialects. Just a little. However, for the sake of simplicity, I'll be teaching you guys what is called either 普通话 or 国语, which is simply translated as Mandarin, or just, Chinese. Now, writing. There are two ways you can write Chinese characters. You can either learn 繁体字, which means traditional Chinese characters, or you can learn 简体字, which means simplified Chinese characters. What is the difference between the two? Well, I'm getting married this September, and this is the difference between my husband's last name in traditional character form versus his last name in simplified character form. Kind of a big difference, right? Exactly. So because most teachers are probably teaching children that live in mainland China, which uses simplified characters, versus students in Hong Kong or Taiwan, both countries which still use traditional characters, I will only be focusing on simplified characters in all of my videos. Both simplified and traditional characters sound the same and mean the same. They are just written differently. Plus, simplified characters are so much easier to learn. I mean, come on. And finally, perhaps the most important aspect of all in Mandarin, tones. Chinese is known as the melodic language, and there are actually 5 different tones in Chinese. Disregard the people that say there are only 4 tones. There are 5. And they're important because if you say the same sound but in the wrong tone, it can mean something totally different. For example, here is a Chinese tongue twister that highlights the importance of tones in Chinese. Māmā, ma, 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 Māmā, ma. Sounded like a bunch of ma's, right? I actually said a full sentence. Mama, mother, ma, yells at ma, horse. Ma, does the horse. Ma, yell back at mama, ma, the mother. Crazy, right? I know. So what exactly are the 5 tones in Chinese?
These are the 5 tones. Take a look and remember it because I'll be breaking it down for you in a second.
Each color represents a different tone. So the line in front of the M is the first tone. Your plain, everyday sounding ma. It is flat across and literally just spoken out with no intonations. Ma. The second tone, ma, is a rising tone. It's the first part of the M that goes upwards, almost like you're asking a question. Ma. The third tone, ma, dips like a check mark, or the middle of the M, where you start high, you dip down, and then you bring the tone back up. Ma. And then the fourth tone, ma, is a downward command tone where you forcefully push the words out, almost like you're mad. Ma. And lastly, the controversial fifth tone, which some people fail to cover, is ma. It's a higher, more nasal singing sound, almost like you push the sound out through your nose instead of your mouth, literally like you're singing. Ma. You sing when you speak Mandarin. So let's get back to our tongue twister and see how many tones you can pick up this time. Mama, ma, 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 mama, ma. Do you hear the different tones now? Yes, it will be easier for our auditory learners. And with practice and looking for the intonations when you use Google Translate, it can help you pronounce your Chinese more accurately. Just be glad we're not learning Cantonese. They have 9 tones. Yikes!